Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is up? The King of Lighting is here today, bringing you guys and gals Toriko, Torika, la la, yeah. People, I'm chill as fuck right now. I don't know why. The King of Lighting is just chill as fucking hell. Well, no, I do know why. Because all my shit's set up. My new PC set up. I have a whole new setup now. I'll show you guys probably on Twitter at some point. But everything's done. I'm happy. All the programs are working. Everything is just working from here today. So, that being said, let me talk about Toriko. And, I mean, I don't know if the mic can pick up my voice right now. Because I'm kind of far away from the mic, but whatever, it's not a big deal. I'll edit the video how I see fit later on. So we have chapter 375. This chapter, oh man, fucking Monkey King, Horse King, Heracles in the building. Acacia, God, stunned, can't believe it. And not only that, but we see Emperor Crow, Mother Snake, and Sky Deer coming from the water. Oh, bruh, that's insane. And now, since it was water, I'm like, well, where's Moon? Like, Moon should be, like, leading the pack. They're moving through the water. Moon should be leading them through the water since Moon is a whale. Regardless of that, fact remains that the 8 Kings are coming. Now, since they're fighting in like Area 2 somewhere, Dragon King Darius should be coming relatively soon. And Guinness should be there relatively soon as well. So the only one that may be late to the party is Moon. I mean, that's very possible, but we have to wait and see about that one. But despite that, let me talk about the pacing, the characterization, and then finally the story progression. Well, actually, no. Fuck that. Let's start with the story progression first. So, I already mentioned at the end of the chapter. At the beginning of the chapter, we see what's going on with Otake. And Otake, he is, like, in God now. And basically, he has to prepare God. He knows the method. The method is he has to follow, like, food luck in order to reach a certain point in the gourmet cell memory of God. And the way it is, God, his DNA, is all of the ingredients on the planet over the course of time. Otake has to like weave his way through these ingredients in order to prep God. And it's pretty intense because the way God's skin looked initially, it looked like a giant planet. And then you see like DNA strands across the area. So basically, Otake has kind of like shrunk down. He has to weave his way through the labyrinth that is God so he can prep God. And I guarantee you Komatsu's already there. Why? Because Komatsu is broken as fuck. And we've already seen, because Joey saw that one moment where God was kind of like yawning. Well, he knew that God was being prepped. So, guarantee you Komatsu's already there doing his thing. But it's still cool to see Otake. And actually, now I think about it, it may be a thing where Otake, Komatsu, and Ume, they, all three of them, come together and prep God. Now, granted, Teppei's not there yet, but he will be there soon, given the brokenness of the back channels. But I think, I got the feeling that it's going to be all three of them coming together to prep God. That's number one. Number two is seeing the fight between Toriko and his gourmet demons against Pear and against Atom, where Red is kind of struggling right now. I mean, scrub shot. Scrub shot. That was pretty beastly attack. And I'm assuming that Pear is stronger than Atom. That's my assumption. That's my assumption. So it is fairly fascinating to see how that works out, where like Red is really struggling right now, and despite Red's power, because the Blue Nitro themselves are not scrubs at all. I mean, scrub shot, but they're not bitches. And whereas you see Blue kind of beating Atom, I mean, Blue did one attack, the Devil Knife, and like that cut through like an island and like a continent and whatnot. I mean, it was a pretty powerful attack. And you can see how Red is not seeing the same level of success as Blue is. In fact, in the Viz translation, Blue says to Toriko, you know, if I was the one in charge, you would be far less likely to die. So, That is true. Given what we've seen thus far when it comes to Blue's power, if Blue was in charge, if Blue was Toriko's main gourmet demon, he would be far less likely to die compared to Red. And those two compared to the third motherfucker, who if he was in charge, Toriko wouldn't die, period. Toriko would solo fights in one attack. Guarantee you that. But clearly you're seeing the difference in power between Red and Blue, though in my personal opinion, once again, I think Atom is stronger than Pear. But it could be the case where the Blue Nitro themselves have like the same baseline of power. Possibly. Now, before Red and Blue and Toriko and Atom and Pear, we have Starjun versus Joey. And, well, story-wise there, basically, Starjun is actually besting Joey for the time being. And he's utilizing that eye from his gourmet demon in a special way where he seems to be teleporting. And he's doing behind the back attacks. And it looks like Joey's not going to stop taking this fight lightly, and she's going to go all out. So that's good. And I like seeing that Joey just can't brush aside Starjun. Not happening. So that's number 3. And number 4 for the story, ultimately, is that the 8 Kings, they have arrived. The 8 Kings, they are here. Heracles, Bambina, first to boot. The Mother Snake, I gotta see in like full-blown combat. Because that Mother Snake, the way it took out that piece of Acacia was absolutely beastly. The speed was off the charts. Before it knew it, it was already in its stomach. That is phenomenal speed. For a piece of Acacia to not even know that it was consumed, those things have very fast reaction time. Mother Snake and Whale King Moon have tussled, and Whale King Moon is the top. He is the pinnacle, supposedly, of the 8 Kings. Dragon King may negate that, we'll have to wait and see. But Mother Snake and Whale King Moon have tussled. So I gotta see Mother Snake. Among all those 3, the Mother Snake I gotta see the most. For sure. Absolutely. So, that is the story progression. And the biggest thing here is seeing what makes God tick, how to actually prep God, then it is the 8 Kings coming to town. When it comes to Toriko and Starjun and that segment of the chapter, it is story progression, but it's not that much story progression. Now, when it comes to the pacing in this case follows very closely to the story progression. Which for the pacing, you have the 4 parts, where you have the beginning with Otake and God, you have the middle with Starjun and Joey, and then after that it's Toriko and his Grimmy Demons against the Blue Nitro. And then finally, it is Bambina and Heracles arriving, and then more 8 Kings on the way. So it is fairly well structured. You have those 4 simple parts. So from a pacing standpoint, I wouldn't say it was a fast chapter, because you do have those 4 parts that are very well organized, whereas in previous chapters, it's like 5 or 6 or 7 parts, and those parts make huge leaps in the story in themselves. Now, there is one thing I will say, though. I do want to see, because we may see it, but I do want to see what happened when Bambina and Heracles first met. Because we saw how Heracles, it destroyed that piece of Acacia at the same time, or roughly around the same time that Bambina did. And then we have the air blast go into Area 8, go out of Area 7, and it was near Bambina. So Bambina, he was like, ooh, playmate, like, let me see what's going on here. So I want to see what happened between Heracles and Bambina. Hopefully we get a small flashback of that. Because right now, they're the first 8 Kings that are going to fight. So hopefully we'll get something as to how it came to be where Bambina is riding on Heracles' forehead, which is absolutely intense. So, the last part of this chapter review is going to be the characterization. For the characterization, we have number 1, God, the big God. And once again, seeing how God operates from a cellular, not even, from like a DNA level standpoint, like that small of a level, where every ingredient is etched into the gourmet cell memory of God. And this, of course, coincides with what Gigi was saying before, where every gourmet eclipse, there'd be a drastic drop in the population of the entire planet. And that was not because of the temperature, but that was because of God itself. God would consume massive amounts of ingredients. And we see these ancient ingredients in God. So that's very important to know. And the only way to actually prep God is by following the food log to a certain point within God. And I guess you could say that's the core of God. And then, or perhaps it's like the first gourmet cell memory of God. And then you prep God via that method. So that's number 1. for characterization, God. And it's fairly important given the fact that this is God. This is the pinnacle beast that we've seen thus far in Toriko. Cap level 10,000, very important. Number 2, for characterization, Starjun using unique powers against Joey. He seems to be teleporting, so even though Joey used a blinding fungus, a blinding germ, to blind Starjun, his main eyes couldn't see, but his third eye could, and he's able to get the drop on Joey. And then on top of that, Starjun mentions something fascinating. He mentions how he is a lot older than what Joey thinks he is. Because Joey was commenting on how this confidence that Starjun has, that confidence comes from his youth. But Starjun says, no, I'm actually a lot older, or I'm older than you think that I am. So what's going on there? I don't know. Alright, but if Starjun is older than what he makes himself out to be, then the same thing must apply to Toriko as well, since Toriko and Starjun are twins. So how old are Toriko and Starjun exactly? And who is their mom? Who is their dad? Now, it appears that Joey does not know who the parents of Starjun are. However, he sees it as irrelevant, how it's going to have no bearing here. Whereas Starjun sees that as destiny, as like retribution. So it's fascinating, and I want to find out more. So that's number 2 for characterization. Number 3 for characterization is also fairly large, where you see red and blue, and they're fighting, and you know that blue is stronger than red, so blue sees more success. But you have Atom talk about how blue's gourmet cells, blue cells, are just like their cells. So the blue Nitro have the same cells as blue, the gourmet demon side of Toriko. So this is confirmation that both the blue Nitro and the gourmet demon blue, they come from the same space. So it's, woo, yeah, oh man. So obviously, the assumption here is that blue is going to power up if Toriko can consume things from the blue space, in this case, the blue Nitro. And the blue Nitro do have a lot of vitality. So if he consumes blue Nitro, odds are blue himself is going to power up significantly. So when that happens, that's going to be fairly cool to see. So once again, no longer do the theories need to be stated, because now we know for sure that blue and the blue Nitro share the same type of gourmet cells. And that is it for the characterization, and that is it for the chapter. So this chapter, I thought, was a great plus to an amazing chapter of Toriko, and I am done. So King Lightning, rate the video, comment, and subscribe as always. Peace! Have a nice goddamn day.